Hey there, this is Jim Donovan. Welcome to the show. I am glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about how you can activate your body's hidden stress melting switch. As I've mentioned before, I teach at a university. This story happened a few years ago, late in the fall semester. One day I decided to briefly check in with my students just to see how they were navigating all of their semester end deadlines, projects, and tests. So at the beginning of the class, I took a poll on how many of them were feeling high levels of stress, and nearly every single student raised their hand. No surprise there. We started talking more about their stress, and that's when I learned something that shocked me a bit. Most of these young, healthy people were experiencing a great deal of chronic physical pain as well. Several of them suffered from frequent headaches. One young woman experienced a constant aching in her back and shoulders. Another one of my students who played rugby hadn't been able to move his neck without pain for weeks following a recent match. Creating this space for dialogue presented me with an opportunity to teach them some techniques to help them cope with stress in a healthy way. This was a music class after all, and so walking them through a few sound-based techniques was something I was sure they'd be interested in. I taught them how the vibrations in their voice stimulate their vagus nerve, the longest nerve in the body that starts at the bottom of the brainstem and runs through the body, touching all of the major vital organs, ending at their abdomen. And I told them that by simply stimulating this nerve, they could help their bodies alleviate pain, decrease anxiety, improve sleep, increase focus, and even clear up nasal congestion. Then I taught them about the different ways you can stimulate your vagus nerve through humming, singing, and chanting, as well as the ancient history behind these techniques. The first technique I showed them was how to do something that I like to call brain humming, and a few of them giggled at first. Granted, it's a pretty unconventional exercise. But after about 4 cycles of brain humming, the students began to settle down. I could see that the effects were starting to take hold. After about 3 minutes, I ended the exercise. We all sat quietly for a few moments. I asked them, how many of you feel different now than when you first walked into this room this morning? And every single hand went up. And so I asked them, well, what's different for you? One student told us that his mind felt clear and that his stress had dissipated. Another young woman mentioned that her chest was no longer tight from anxiety, which she had been feeling since she woke up that morning. And then the rugby player shouted, look, I can move my neck. One of the more reserved students chimed in. Mr. Donovan, my mind has never been this clear until today. This is pretty cool. I was happy to hear her say that and decided to leave the class with a few final thoughts. When our minds are clear, we tend to make higher quality decisions. And the quality behind our moment-to-moment decisions eventually start to add up to the type of life we end up living. I reminded them that all of the positive effects they were feeling were ones they generated on their own. They didn't need some sort of substance to make it happen. I told them that they had just learned how to access their innate ability to better their health and quality of life. And best of all, they could use this one simple trick wherever and whenever they needed to calm their mind, boost their mood, reduce their anxiety, or even relieve their pain. So how about we try it out? Let's do a few rounds of brain humming. This is a really easy exercise. I want you just to sit quietly, make your spine straight. Close your eyes if you like. And what we're going to do is breathe in, and then as we exhale, we'll make a humming sound. It's like this. So breathe in. Good, let's do it again. As we do this, I want you to focus all of your attention on your head and face. Let's do 2 more. Breath in. One more. Good. Take a breath in and let it go. You can sit quietly for a moment. Notice how that vibration makes you feel. Sometimes it takes a few more rounds to really begin to feel the depth of the effect. Sometimes people feel it right away. Just notice what's happening for you. When you do this on your own, and when you finish, always take a moment afterwards and notice the difference between when you started and when you've ended in how your mind and body feels. The bottom line today is this. Vagal nerve stimulation is like a built-in superpower, one that's just waiting to be uncovered. And making an exercise like this a part of your daily routine can result in major improvements to your life if you stick with it. I can't say that all of my classroom lessons have this profound of an effect on my students, but this one definitely landed well. And now I make a point to teach my classes this technique every semester when I know they're feeling the stress of midterms or finals. Of course, you can use this in your own life too, whether you're feeling anxious about making a major life decision, finding yourself in consistent pain, or if you're just having trouble sleeping. Vagal nerve stimulation can make a big difference in your everyday life. If you use this, I would love to hear how it's working for you. Always feel free to drop me a line at feedback@donovanhealth.com. Well, that's it for today. I appreciate you tuning in. Remember to come see us on our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Just search Jim Donovan Sound Health.